Hi, my name is Alex Feisley, and today I'm going to talk to you about adding users to your platform in Netmaker. So there's a few different ways you can do this, including syncing with your identity provider, OAuth, inviting users over email, or just creating users. When you invite users, you can give them roles, you can add them to groups, and this will in general manage their access. So the first thing I want to show you is on this fresh platform over here. When you go to your settings and you go to security and authentication, you'll see here the option to set up identity providers. So you could just do OAuth or you could sync with your IDP. So for instance, if you're doing Google, it will give you a series of steps to follow in order to sync the IDP. Now the benefit of doing this is all of your users will be synced automatically. And once that's completed, they will show up in your system, and you'll also have all of the groups from your IDP. So very useful to get everyone in there. And then also you can just use OAuth, and then they can log in over OAuth. So around here is just some other settings for your users. So you can allow basic auth or disable that. You can also enforce multi-factor authentication. And then this bit here, JWT validity session, it's how long users stay logged in when they log in. So you can see the default is 720 minutes, but you can change that to whatever you want. So back on my platform over here, I've already set this up. So again, going back to my settings, you can see I've added Google there. And auto sync is enabled. And once you've done that, anytime you want to sync, you can click this button, or just it'll auto sync every once in a while. So then over here in user management, you can see all of my users are showing up. Now you'll see some settings here you're going to want to work with. So the first is the access level. So let's talk a little bit about that. And to do that, maybe I'll show you creating a user. So when you create a user, let's just say I call them user 1. And here you'll see a level of access. So an admin is an admin on the platform. They can manage all of the users. They can add devices, do all sorts of stuff. Then you have a platform user. A platform user is someone who has access to your Netmaker platform. They basically can act as an admin for specific networks. And for that, you're going to add them to a specific network like this. So for instance, I could add them to the cloud overlay admin group, and then they'll have access to our cloud overlay network. And then the last is the service user. So this user only has access to the desktop application. They're not going to be able to log into the dashboard. And for that, you're also going to add them to groups. And you might, for instance, add them to the Office user group, and that would give them access to the Office network. So if you do have IDP sync, the groups will automatically show up here, and you can add them into the groups, or they'll automatically be in the groups you've created with your IDP. And then you can also create your own groups here. So there are default groups created, which give various levels of access. So typically it's an administrator or a user for all groups, an administrator or user for specific networks. And that's mostly what you're going to be working with. However, you can create your own groups and use some of our basic roles here, which today are just admin and user, though we are adding more roles over time. So that's basically how the user system works. One other thing worth noting is you can invite users. So you can put in their email addresses. You could put a whole list in here, create user invites, and actually this will sync with a SMTP server. So it can send out email invites to your users. And you can also set it up so that users can request to log into the platform. So they'll actually go and sign up to the platform, and they'll show up here in pending users, and then you can approve them. So that gives you a few different methods for managing users. You can either invite their emails, you can create them directly with username, password, you can sync with IDP, you can allow them to sign up and then approve them. And that's basically everything. In the next video, we'll talk about how to set up access to specific resources inside of your networks. But for now, this should be enough to get you started with setting up your users.